Good afternoon and possibly good late morning to some of you. It is so great to have you with us today for our first Friday webinar with the Consciousness and Healing Initiative. My name is Dr. Shamini Jan, and I am so pleased to help bring these Free Friday webinars to you, our dear, dear community. And as you know, many of you know who are joining us here on Zoom, we love to know where you're coming in from so that our guests can learn where all you're coming in from to learn from their wisdom today. So please do drop in the chat where you're hailing from so we can enjoy knowing that we are all connected across seas and even across time zones. We've got San Mateo. We've got, boy, my eyes are bad. New York, Sweden, Greece, Eastern North Carolina, Rhode Island, Alberta, Virginia, San Diego. Yes, we got some San Diego folks in the house. We've got Richmond, Virginia, Chicago, Alaska. Wow, New Jersey, Durham, all across. Yes, some more Canada folks as well. Portugal. Welcome. Welcome. It is such our pleasure to be bringing these leading lights of healing to you every Friday. We want to thank all of you who join us as Chi contributors to help support these webinars at a mere contribution of $9 a month, 108 a year, the magic number, 108 a year. That helps our staff get these going for you because as you can imagine, there's a lot of back end stuff that has to happen in order for us to go in live. So if you're interested, if you have not joined us yet as a Chi contributor, Jason's going to put a link into the chat. You can just go to chi.is/join with your tax deductible donation of $108 a year. You will have access to this and about 90 to 100 plus more hours of goodness from the healing community that you can access at any time, as well as monthly meditations delivered to your inbox, science updates, and much, much more. So thank you all for your support. I am so thrilled to have a conversation about a really important topic for all of us these days, sleep and the role of consciousness in sleep. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce our esteemed guests for today. We will start with Dr. Sheila Patel, who some of you may have met on the Energy That Heals Summit that we did last year. Dr. Sheila Patel, MD, is renowned for her experience in integrative medicine, blending the wisdom of Ayurveda, meditation, and yoga with modern medical practices. With years of experience and a dedication to holistic health, she offers a unique and personalized approach to healing. You may have also seen her, of course, as the Chief Medical Officer for Chopra and Chopra Foundation for many years. She helped lead and still leads these beautiful health retreats integrated with Deepak's teachings, the Perfect Health Program. Some of you may have met her there. Her philosophy centers around a preventative, predictive, personalized, and participatory approach to health, aiming to enhance the well-being of individuals and society as a whole. She interviews and utilizes the tools of knowledge of Ayurveda, yoga, and meditation in her patients' healing plans. And she has witnessed this ability to work in various settings, teaching people how to support their inner healer, helping them thrive in body, mind, and spirit. Sheila, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you. Good to be here.
And we not only have one renowned expert, but two renowned experts coming to us today. And it is my pleasure and great honor to introduce to you Dr. Suhas Kshirsagar. And I will tell you a little bit more about Suhas Ji. You may have also seen him at many of the retreats that Deepak Chopra held for so many years in San Diego, where he was always a featured speaker and very much integrated into the Chopra community. Dr. Suhas is a classically trained Ayurvedic physician with over 35 years of clinical experience. Among many of his accolades, he was a gold medalist for his research thesis at Pune University. And those of you from India know that a gold medalist is a really big deal, by the way. He's a best-selling author, motivational speaker, and an acclaimed educator in the field of Ayurveda and integrative medicine, traveling around the world popularizing yoga, meditation, and Ayurveda for natural medicine, designing curriculums, and so much more. He is an advisor to the Chopra Foundation and the director of Ayurvedic Healing, an integrative wellness and Panchakarma clinic in Santa Cruz, California. Ooh, I want to go there. He specializes in personalized and lifestyle medicine with popular books including The Hot Belly Diet, Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life, Panchakarma, The Art and Science of Vedic Counseling, and of course, their new book together, Suhas and Sheila, which we're going to be talking about today, Awakened Sleep. Awakened Sleep. What a beautiful title, by the way, Awakened Sleep. Thank you for that title. And you want to pull up the book just so we can have a sense of this beautiful book so everyone knows about it. Here we go. Awaken Sleep, y'all, available at your latest bookseller. We do like to promote the beautiful work of our healing leaders here. And we're going to dive right into why you wrote this book and what we can learn about the role of consciousness in sleep. But let's just be real with what the problem is, okay? Over 50% of us are likely to be diagnosed, if we don't aren't already diagnosed, with a sleep disorder. This is a massive, massive problem. 1 out of 3 people, claim ongoing sleep disruption. We're all struggling with sleep, even at various ages. Some people think, oh, it's when you get older, that you have problems with sleep. But we've got young people having issues with sleep too. It's a rampant public health concern that impacts our abilities to heal. Why do you guys think we're having such a huge sleep problem?
Sheila?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for that introduction, Shamini, and thank you for having us. It is such an important topic, and one that I deal with, on a weekly basis in primary care. I do think there are many factors, and that's why I do believe in a personalized approach to sleep. But one of the main factors I do think, as you mentioned, yes, aging, there are certain factors that make it more challenging to sleep. But why are we seeing sleep issues in young kids, teenagers, adults that we didn't see before? A lot of it has to do with lifestyle, as many things do, chronic diseases and sleep disorders included, especially what we call insomnia, trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, or early awakening. So much of it has to do with lifestyle, and we talk a lot about that in the book.
And thank you, Shamini. Thank you for having us here. And I really appreciate the consciousness and healing initiative that you have created, because it's the dialogue that we should all be talking about. And the reason why we are talking about this book and my previous book, Change Your Schedule, Change Your Life, was, in simple words, our life has gotten very busy. The pace of life has increased many folds. And I think what we see as clinicians in our daily practice, every person, as you said, more than 50% of adults are suffering from some kind of sleep issues and problems. The reason being, the life has gotten very busy. The pace of life has intensified a whole lot. Poor diet, poor nutrition affects your sleep. Lack of exercise affects your sleep. So every other foundation that we talk about, health, is affected, and the last end results is your sleep, not getting enough good quality rest. And I think it is reaching to an alarming proportion where our ability to manage stress is greatly affected by lack of sleep. People are becoming more hostile, reactive, grumpy, irritable. That is due to lack of sleep. The second thing is that we often see is that their cognitive function is slowly declining. Their attention span, their focus, their concentration is becoming much limited now. And so it is affecting everybody's ability to learn and grow. And the last thing is it creates fear. Lack of sleep increases vata, that we know, and you become very, very fearly and more fearful about every area of your life. And one of the things that I often see in my patients, and Sheila would agree, that when you're alone by yourself in the night, that's the first time you're tuning into your own radio station. You're running around all day long, but in your bed, when you're sleeping, you're fearful of the future, dark, death, mortality. All of those things really swirl those thought processes, and that intensity, increased anxiety, actually affects your sleep, and then it creates a vicious cycle. So we thought that maybe this is a natural extension where we present the current scenario, what we know about sleep, because modern medicine knows the mechanics of how we sleep. We still don't know why we sleep and why it is so important. We didn't give importance to sleep in modern medicine. Even about 10 years ago, nobody talked about sleep with that intensity. And now we suddenly realize it's one of the most important things that you would do.
Yes.
1/3 of your life you sleeping probably. And I think the way we tailor it, the way we look at it, the way we deepen it, I think is going to create much vital health for ourselves.
I appreciate this very much and kind of naming the issues that we have. It almost sounds like a vicious cycle in a way, because here we have a situation where when we don't get enough sleep, we increase the propensity for vata. We'll get into that in a bit, what we mean by that. But behaviorally, what happens, we get irritable, we get more fearful, we get more tense, our cognitive functions decline. And then, of course, all of those things will also affect our sleep. And we're living in a society, as you said, that unfortunately just is a society of overstimulation, of media influences that continue to perpetuate fear in us, and geopolitical situations that are creating fear in us, which also affect our ability to relax into sleep. So there's quite a vicious cycle, and I appreciate us just sort of naming the problem collectively as well as individually. And, we're going to move from Debbie Downer, you guys, into positivity in a minute. But like, just so we do understand too, because I have to have this conversation with my children who, young people think they're invincible. And I'm like, I know you think it's okay to like just stay up all night and study. They truly are doing that. And, and sleep 4 hours, but that's not healthy for you. And I have to list all the reasons why, including the cognitive abilities and all. But there is also a real cost to the body, right? The physiology. And, Sheila, I'm wondering if you'd want to take us through a little bit of what happens to the body in terms of our immune system or our endocrine system when we don't get enough restorative sleep.
Yeah, thanks. It is sleep, there's so much sleep science and research going on right now on sleep because in modern science, we're all of a sudden saying, oh, sleep is important. Where, in Ayurveda, sleep has been known to be a foundation for good health for thousands of years. And in fact, again, when we don't sleep, as you said, it is a cycle. When we don't sleep, during sleep, we're healing. That's one of the outcomes of sleep. We'll get into consciousness in a minute, but when we are getting deep, natural, restorative sleep, we're actually tapping into pure potential consciousness. We're accessing states of awareness during sleep, consciousness, that the outcome of that is balanced hormones and balance, including cortisol, reduced inflammation, calming of the nervous system, emotional processing. So you're right, when we don't sleep, we don't have balanced emotions. And as we discussed, when we don't have balanced emotions, again, we're irritable, anxious, fearful, it makes it harder to sleep. So we get into these vicious cycles. In addition, inflammation, increased inflammation, we really can't regulate that cortisol circadian rhythm, which it's supposed to be low at night, but oftentimes it's high. And, that can create chronic inflammation, which we know is a root cause of many health disorders. And so that's why they've linked lack of restorative sleep, good sleep, with an increased risk of really everything: diabetes, heart disease, dementia, as we mentioned, autoimmune diseases, really everything. And when we have those physical issues, again, that can create a cycle where maybe people have pain or, again, when your physical body isn't balanced, it makes it harder to sleep as well. So that's why we say, and in Ayurveda, that the quality of your day absolutely depends on the quality of your night, but the quality of your night also depends on the quality of your day. And that speaks to, again, lifestyle. And in the modern world, we've, stepped away from a lifestyle that's in alignment with nature. And that's caused a lot of problems.
I really love that last statement. And I love the hope and the understanding. And this isn't just hope, this is database that we can disentangle this vicious cycle. We can interrupt the pattern. And, as a clinical psychologist, I was taught about cognitive behavioral therapy ways to deal with sleep. And so we had CBTI, cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, which I I conducted with our fellow veterans who really had major issues with sleep for many reasons, including post-traumatic stress, but other reasons too. And
Right.
so we know on some level that, interrupting the pattern with behavior is
Mhm.
vitally important and is part of Ayurveda. But Ayurveda, of course, is more than even that. It is a consciousness-based approach to medicine. And here we're really excited to really dive into what that means, because I think that's such a beautiful value and an additional value of your book above, other books on sleep and how to deal with sleep, is that you're really approaching this from a deep wisdom place rooted in Ayurveda, the science of life, and consciousness and its role in healthy sleep. So maybe I could ask you about the question, as each of you answer, or one of you as you see fit. What is the role of consciousness itself in promoting healthy sleep?
Okay, so going back to what Sheila was saying, I understand that this high pace of life and the challenges in lifestyle is definitely creating this problem. I wrote in my earlier book, The Hot Belly Diet, a concept called as eat late to gain some weight, sleep late to gain some weight, and 70% of the country is doing both. And then you're doomed because you are eating late and sleeping late, and that affects everything else. So we have a cascade of metabolic syndrome and so many diseases which are directly linked with circadian disruption. And I think Ayurveda is probably the only science which thousands of years actually talked about the fundamental aspect of chronobiology, understanding the clock within the body itself. And we have the times of doshas, and we'll talk a little bit more about that from an Ayurvedic perspective. But there are timings that the body needs to carry out functions, whether it is lipid synthesis, immunomodulations, variety of different things that are happening on. And when those things are not done properly in the night, then you are creating a debt of those imbalanced work that is still swirling around. And you have almost a situation with chronic inflammation that you're living with. And because of you are living in a degree of pain and discomfort and some degree of emotional pain, it affects everything else. And to come back to your question, Shamini, this degree of pain and discomfort, dukkha as we call them, disconnects you from your source of who you are.
Mhm.
Consciousness is primary. And most importantly, deep within the layers of our physiology, the force keeps us ticking and keeps us alive is the field of consciousness, is the field of pure potentiality that we must be able to be mindfully connect on a daily basis. But when we are hurting, when we are in pain, when the life is very busy, we are not able to go to the source. And I don't blame people because we are all busy and doing variety of different things. But at the end of the day, when you fall asleep and when you withdraw your sense, it's one of the best and the most powerful time to connect to that field of consciousness, which is way beyond the grasp of your mind and senses. So that aspect of consciousness, which is watching, witnessing, we often talk about the states of consciousness of sleeping state, dreaming state, and waking state. Okay, we can talk about those as the states of consciousness, but actually they are not. There's only one singular state of consciousness which is present even in all the three states. We are dreaming, we are awake, and we are sleeping. But when we are completely asleep, there is still that witnessing state of awareness, which is the field of consciousness. And I think sleep is the ticket to that gateways from where you can tap into the total field of potentiality and probability, field of consciousness, unified field of consciousness, whichever we want to talk about it. So I think for ages together in all the Vedic culture, they have looked sleep as your ticket to going to the same place where you can go to even before you were born and long after you're gone. That is
Mm.
the place where you're going to go. And we all should be very excited in going and tapping ourselves into that because that is the field of pure creativity. That is the field where we can change our life by finding creative solutions. We wake up in life and start doing things because we have already made decisions, because we are syncing our individual intellect with cosmic intellect in that state of awareness in our sleep. We are syncing our individual breath with the cosmic breath in those deep states of awareness. Sleep is given the status of a goddess in Ayurveda as Yoga Nidra. Okay, the Nidra, the goddess of sleep, who cocoons us into take her back into her womb, which nurtures us, nourishes us, allows us to get the deep quality rest, energize us, and sends back in the world. But every day, that reprogramming, that bathing, and that connection with the consciousness, if you are able to do that, then you are able to lead your life more in an enlightened way. Every choice that you make can be very powerful and evolutionary and self-beneficiary, promoting longevity, promoting health, and promoting more of a health conscious lifestyle. So I think that is the reason that going to sleep with a proper frame of mind and having an excellent sleep hygiene based upon Vedic concepts and principles is the very message of awakened sleep.
I love this. It's so beautiful. And I'll just share very briefly that what comes to me as you're saying all this is, yoga chit vritti nirodha.
Nirodha.
So, and what does that mean? Yoga ceases the fluctuations of the mind. And in Jainism, one of our biggest practices, which is a yogic practice, is what we call kayotsarg, which is literally the art of stillness. So there is something about welcoming the goddess of sleep and allowing us to come into the stillness of presence that we can access these deeper realms of consciousness, because it's not just about getting good sleep for our health, which of course we want to do. It's also about consciousness expansion, and that is what drives health in the first place, right? Is that reconnection with consciousness. So thank you both, because I think you both really alluded to the power and the promise of what it means when we do regulate our sleep. So let's talk about how we do regulate our sleep from an Ayurvedic perspective. And Sheila, maybe you can give us just a mini understanding for those who may not be familiar with what Ayurveda is and how you approach restorative awakened sleep from an Ayurvedic perspective.
Yeah, so for people who aren't familiar, Ayurveda is the traditional healing system from India. Was first described, in India, and so in the language of Sanskrit. And I always tell people it literally translates as the science of life because it's based on the Vedic metaphysics of how the entire universe works and nature, of which we're part of. We are part of nature. And so when we understand these metaphysical concepts, we start to understand our physiology and psychology, the body and mind at a much deeper level. So it is the science of life. I also tell people it's really a complete holistic medical system. And because it's based on this reality that we have body, mind, and spirit, and we have experiences in all of those realms, all of those layers. And Ayurveda offers practices for body, mind, and spiritual practices. So that's what makes it so complete. And it's based on this concept of creating a healthy lifestyle. It's so I tell people sometimes it's the original lifestyle medicine. So now we're realizing how important that is. But it's also personalized because of this concept of the doshas and vata, pitta, kapha, and how these are these psychophysiological principles that function within all of us, some more so in others. And when these are all balanced, then we can create health on a daily basis. So that's really where my philosophy comes from. It's personalized, it's preventative, because if we can stay in balance, then we're preventing disease. It's also predictive when we understand our nature, mind, body, constitution, we can start to make choices that are best for ourselves. And it's participatory because people need to participate in their own health. So Ayurveda is lots of things, and really it's this holistic system that really, again, put movement, sleep, nutrition at the forefront of healing. A lot of people think, oh, it's herbs for this, and of course, there's a powerful pharmacopoeia in Ayurveda, but it's really the primary is how we live our life, and that does include, again, Practices like yoga and meditation. And in Ayurveda, sleep, as Dr. Suhas, described, is an extension of meditation where we can access restful awareness and pure consciousness during the nighttime hours as well. So, I use these principles of Ayurveda all the time when I'm seeing patients because it really expanded my toolkit when it comes to helping people heal and in my own personal life as well.
Beautiful. Thank
Well, I think just one more thing to add, Sheila ji, what you're saying about Ayurveda is yes, it is one of the most ancient, most comprehensive system of healthcare that is known to humanity. But the most important thing is, in the name of medicine, in the name of healthcare, what we have created here is not an individual healthcare system. It's something that you go to someone when the disease has already happened, the
Mhm.
symptom is really intensified, and they are probably trying to help you with something what they can do. But at that time, it's a bit too late to address any of those issues as such. When we talk about your individual health and responsibility, your health is your own domain. You have to participate in your own health on a daily basis. Everything that I do, I see tons of people who come. They say that I do this in the night. I like to watch my late night shows. I'm still working late in the night, and you give me some kind of a magical herb or a pill to help me sleep. So I will keep on doing whatever I'm doing. I will keep on not exercising, eating bad food. But if I have high cholesterol, your job is to fix me. And I think that's the healthcare that we have at times, where we don't really pause and ask that why do you do certain things, where you are damaging your own health by not doing the right thing at the right time.
So we can take more responsibility. And so Ayurveda is so empowering in that way. If I might too, we're the Consciousness and Healing Initiative. We have deep interest in energy. And when I think of Ayurveda and the science of life and the things like the doshas, which maybe we should talk about and the relevance to sleep, understanding, that as you said, Sheila, this is very personalized because Ayurveda knows, accepts, and actually integrates the understanding that we are walking patterns of vibration. And
Mhm.
some of us have different elemental forces that move through us, stronger in some cases in the elemental forces makeup than others. So some of us are more walking air and fire most of the time. Some of us are more walking earth and water. And these are part of what comprise what Ayurveda describes as the doshas, right? The different constitutional subtypes. And you very much, I believe in your book, talk about these doshas or these constitutional subtypes as part of the personalized medicine that Ayurveda has to offer because what I'm gathering from what you're saying is if Ayurveda knows that we're all walking, living aspects of vibration, and we're all different, in some ways, then the remedies to bring us back to restorative sleep may be personalized according to that vibrational subtype. So I'm wondering if you can
Yeah.
help us understand that a little better, because for some people that, I mean, our community understands energy, right? But like for some people, the idea of doshas is kind of new and a little abstract. So can you help take us through how you do that kind of work to determine what kind of sleep remedies might be helpful for different subtypes of vibrations?
Yeah, really more and more over time I've realized to kind of demystify, the terms. They're just words, right? And it's language. But the Sanskrit language is so beautiful in the sense that each term is really a metaphor. So I've been really trying to teach people these are metaphors or like observations of patterns of nature. So if we can separate a little bit from, oh, the terms sound funny, then we realize these are really just metaphors for how nature works. So Vata, again, isn't doesn't only describe our mind body physiology, but principles out in nature. So Vata is a combination of space and air. In Ayurveda, it's space, air, fire, water, earth are the five elements. And what are the qualities of space and air? Lightness, movement, dryness. If you think about jumping out of an airplane, right? That's space and air. It's expansive. There's really no structure or boundaries, right? So a Vata type person, and we come into the world with our kind of like our DNA. This is our mind body type, but we have all of the elements in us. So of course we have all of the doshas and all the functioning they do in our physiology in us. but we come in with a dominance of one or two typically. So Vata types have a lot of movement in the mind, maybe restlessness in the body, lightness, dryness, they're cold, right? So they'll have a certain natural pattern of their sleep tendencies. Then there's Pitta, that's fire and water, so they're more hot, right? And penetrating, intense, like fire, and maybe acidic, like fire and water together. And Pitta performs certain functions in all of us, this concept, this metaphor, but some people come in with more of those qualities. So we're going to see that in their physiology. And kapha is water and earth. So heavy, soft, smooth, cold. So they're going to have a certain different physiology, physical build, mental tendencies, and sleep tendencies. In fact, because of that heaviness of earth and water, kaphas typically, and the kapha within us helps us sleep. So kaphas typically don't have sleep issues. So because we have our tendencies, but because we have all of these doshas in us and we're constantly interacting with environment, and our choices that we make can cause an imbalance or an accumulation in any of these qualities. And it's typically vata accumulation or imbalance, or pitta, that is interrupting sleep. So we have a quiz in the book that people can take about their natural tendency and also what's out of balance right now, what's causing the imbalance. And then, as you said, there are personalized recommendations and they may change. The root cause, Ayurveda is always looking for the root cause, may be different, for you in each season or times in your life. So it's really important to create a sense of awareness of what's going on within you, so you can make the best choices for yourself. And again, I love the word empowered, because some people are like, no, just tell me what to do. But I feel ultimately it's more empowering to teach people how to understand what's best for them using, these simple uh, qualities that we experience in our day-to-day life, and bringing in what will balance that.
Expanding, yeah, our own consciousness of the behaviors, and being our own best scientist in a way to
Yes.
explore how what I'm doing is affecting my ability to sleep. Yeah, wonderful. I want to
I love.
remind folks too, before we continue, which we will. I see a few of you putting questions in the Q&A box. I mean, you've got two renowned experts here in Ayurveda and sleep and consciousness, obviously. So I encourage you, we will get to questions in a few minutes. If you have questions, throw them in the Q&A box. Don't wait, because I'm going to probably go in order. And we may not get to all the questions, but please do throw them in the Q&A box if you're joining us here on Zoom. Dr. Suhas, your reflections on the doshas.
Well, again, one more thing that what Dr. Sheila just said so beautifully is that, yes, it's all energy. Okay, it's the energy of these doshas that govern every structure and aspect of our physiology as such. But it's the energy of the universe also. It's the energy of the environment also. Our life in general on planet Earth is decided by these cosmic energies to a greater extent. Is that right? Well, our little planet is tumbling on its axis, swirling around sun. The day and night are created. Light has a different energy. Not darkness, night has a different energy. Different seasons are happening. We are on the cusp of a fall right now, where the season is changing. We are seeing the shift. And every time there is a change, we have to sync our doshas with the environment properly by actively doing and changing and adopting a different lifestyle to suit that shift and change. Is that right? And we have to be aware of it, that fall routine is going to be slightly different than the summer routine that we were doing earlier. So there are food that are grown in this season differently. There are things that I need to do something differently. So when we say participatory medicine, is to be aware of that, is to be aware of the qualities, which is another form of energy in everything that you experience. Is that right? If you're watching a violent movie in the night right before you go to bed, that energy is going to affect the quality of your sleep and your dreams all night long. If you're looking at a stressful email that you receive from the workplace, it's going to haunt you all night long. So the energy is in everything that you do. The food, you think that alcohol relaxes me, but if a pitta person, as Dr. Sheila was saying, who is already hot and fiery, is consuming their alcohol in the night, then it's going to make them really, really hot and thirsty in the night and going to affect their sleep a whole lot. And so energy is in the qualia and the qualities of every expression of nature. And that's what Ayurveda is. Ayurveda is the science of qualia and qualities. And everything that we do affects everything.
I love that.
I just wanted, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I just wanted to add, bouncing off of that, Ayurveda, we balance by bringing in the opposite. And so sometimes when I'm explaining Ayurveda, I'll to ask people, when fall comes or the cold season comes, what do you naturally do? Because Ayurveda is very intuitive. Oh, I reach for my sweaters and a hat and a coat. Oh, so you add warm when it's getting cold. And then I say, oh, look, you're practicing Ayurveda, because that's all it is, as Dr. Suhas mentioned. It's the qualities. So when I'm dry, I add moist. When I'm too moist, I add dry. And so, it starts to become very intuitive of the energies that I need, balance with the opposite, figure out what's causing too much of whatever the quality, cold, light, whatever it is, heavy, and bring in the opposite. And so it becomes, it can't, people sometimes get, oh, it's so confusing, but bring it back to just how do you feel and bring in the opposite.
Very simple. I love that. Thank you for that. Just very clear, simple suggestion of how we move forward. And I know I see a lot of questions in Q&A, which we will try our best to get to. But I also thought it might be nice for us to have a felt experience, whether it's some tips or maybe even a practice that you recommend that we could all benefit from that would help support our sleep, no matter what our dosha is. Um, do you
Yeah.
have a practice that you would like to share with us?
Yeah, I'd love to. Just a simple practice. We'll spend a couple of minutes. As we've been discussing, it's really important when you practice Ayurveda to understand what's happening within you. So we'll do a simple breath practice, and I'll ask some questions to bring body awareness in as well. All right. So if everyone can get comfortable, and if you're seated in a chair, just uncross your legs so they're flat on the ground. If you're seated on the ground, make sure you're propped and comfortable. And when you're ready, just gently close your eyes. And if that's not comfortable for you, you can have a soft gaze down toward the ground, but closed if you can. Bringing our awareness within. And just have your hands laying comfortably on your lap. Let's start by taking 2 or 3 slow inhales through the nose, relaxing the abdominal muscles. And exhale with a sigh. Even make a noise. And soften anywhere you're feeling tension in your body. Take a few more deep breaths like that. Inhaling slowly. And exhaling. Lowering your shoulders, releasing your jaw. Anywhere you're noticing tension. And now one slow inhale and exhale through the nose. Longer than a usual breath. And now move your awareness to your heart. And without controlling the breath in any way, just notice your breath here. Just notice the natural and gentle rise and fall of your chest. And if your mind goes into a thought where your senses pull you into a sound in the environment or a sensation in the body, just gently bring your awareness back to your breath. And now move your awareness to your legs. Just have a gentle awareness of the sensation of your legs. And notice any temperature or other sensation, tingling, tightness, anything you're feeling in your legs. Without judgment, just notice. Moving your awareness to your trunk, your whole pelvis, abdomen, chest area. Again, notice any sensations in your body that you're feeling. Do you have sensations in your gut? Any discomfort? Or maybe you feel light or heavy. Just try to connect to the feeling. And if there's discomfort, you can direct your breath to that area with your inhale. And with your exhale, have the intention to release. And now moving awareness to your arms and your back and your neck. Again, noticing any sensations. Do you feel any sharpness, heat, cold? Just notice. And now move awareness to your head and your face. And again, just notice any sensations here. Now moving your awareness to your entire body. Just have an awareness of your whole body all at once. And now very gently bring your awareness to any sounds, smells, tastes in your mouth. Anything visually that you're noticing. Without attaching to anything, just notice that you have sensory input from within and without. And just silently repeat, I am aware. I am aware. Now begin to deepen your breath with keeping your eyes closed. You stretch wherever you're feeling tight, moving your fingers, toes. And if it's comfortable, you can place your palms in prayer position in front of your heart, or lay both hands over your heart, one on top of the other, if that's more comfortable. I'm going to chant one Om. Feel free to join me on the exhale. Inhale. Om. Now bowing down slightly, touching your fingertips to your forehead, acknowledge that pure awareness that resides within you. Bringing your head up, you can gently open your eyes and acknowledge that energy all around you. Namaste.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Sheila. I felt so held while you were guiding us through that practice. It was really lovely. Really, really lovely. Yes, the power of coming into embodied presence and its abilities to re-regulate again by coming into a deeper connection with consciousness as a healing salve. Yeah.
Yes, and one of the practices we talk about in the book is a sensory awareness practice because we are inundated all day long with sensory input, and that is part of what we are releasing and processing as we go into sleep. And so we have to pay attention. There's a whole chapter in the book on the senses, and maybe Dr. Suhas can discuss the importance of the senses a bit, but I'll just close with that Ayurvedic practices, the daily practices that we do, that we discuss all throughout the book, really help to get to the root cause of most of our health issues, reduces inflammation and calms the nervous system. And both of those things, especially that nervous system, when we're overstimulated, really disrupt sleep and, create all kinds of health issues. But yeah, I love these sensory practices.
Yes, amazing. And if you both don't mind, we have a number of questions. Maybe we could move into that. And want to remind everyone, I'm going to just address the first question, which is more of a procedural thing for Chi, I think. Can I have this recording as I have to leave from an emergency? I have a patient to attend to. We do have many physicians and healers who are part of this community. So yes, Mr. Patel, you will. If you registered for this, you will get a free replay link that is good for the entire weekend to watch and share with your community. As a social profit, the Consciousness and Healing Initiative is dedicated to making sure that we share all of this beautiful wisdom as broadly as we can with the community. Again, if you would like to access this after the weekend and support what we are doing at the Consciousness and Healing Initiative to be able to continue these beautiful webinars, we ask that you consider joining us as a Chi contributor for $9 a month or 180 a year. Well, you'll have access to this and about 100 hours of incredible leading light practices, science, personalized meditations to your inbox, and more. Jason will put that link again in the chat. It's chi.is/join. Please do check it out, and we hope that you will help continue to support this little beautiful social profit, the PBS of Healing, Consciousness and Healing Initiative. We'll move to another question. This is a very nuanced Ayurvedic question, right? So let me see if I can sum this up. I'll read out the question as it is and then see if I can kind of also summarize what I think this person is asking. What if other people have the same prakriti and their diet and medications are same as mine with Pitta Vata prakriti? So how does it personalized or unique to every individual? I mean, a lot of people will have the same prakriti, is what they're saying. So, I think there's a question in there somewhere, and I think the question is around, a lot of people have the same prakriti, and their diet and medications may be similar or different. But maybe a larger question is how do you address a sleep issue, And so let's say this person just mentioned Pitta Vata. So, maybe you could give an example of how do you address a Pitta Vata subtype of a dosha, constitutional subtype of energy, with sleep issues. How would that work?
Well, if I may take that. So I think people have different body type. They have a lot of similar body types. So it's not a standard cookie cutter thing that we throw pages at you and this is the diet that you should follow for the rest of your life. Life is all dynamic. It's energetic. It is shifting. It is changing. So same Pitta Vata person, what they should do when they are 20 years of age versus what they should do at 40 years of age versus what they should be doing at 60 or 70 years of age could be different. What they should be doing during spring versus fall could be different. If you have a sedentary occupation, could be different than someone who is a construction worker. If you are married with a couple of kids, could be different than if you're a single person as such. So there are so many things that are happening in your environment that is affecting your doshas and also create different set of recommendations that we advise people. And if I have to throw a wrench in this perfect functioning, I would like to take a look at your astrological chart and see where you are in the grand scheme of things. I will enter your date, place, and time of birth and cast a Vedic horoscope to see where your moon placement is, whether it makes you a little bit more prone for anxiety or worry over something else. You could still be the Pitta Vata type, having the same body type with a complete different astrological chart and might come with a complete set of recommendations, which are even more individualized.
We're talking serious personalized medicine now. We're talking about what you brought in from the past life and where you are in your current life as
It's
Yeah.
like zooming in. Is that right? You zoom in that this is your dosha. Then you zoom in, this is your rising sign. Then you zoom in that this is your sun type. Then you zoom in, this is your moon type. You zoom in further that your moon is in this constellation, and that's how your mind works. So you are zooming in and really looking at the fabric of your thinking and your personality in your transpersonal psychology, which makes it much more easier for you to understand, not for just once, but for a greater part, that this is who I am, this is how I think, this is how I make choices, this is how I typically react. And then you create a lifestyle which is a very awakened, aware lifestyle in which you can stay out of the problem for the greater part of your life. And we see that all the time in our patient population.
I love it. I love it. Anything you want to add to that, Sheila, or should we move on to the next question, which maybe I would address to you as a woman, because we have a lot of questions about menopause here. We want answers. We want answers to what's happening in menopause. So, does awakened sleep touch on the impact menopause has on sleep? Can you touch on that briefly? And I'll just add another question here, the more specific question, but maybe that many women who are going through the change can, resonate with. My sleep issues seem to be centered around menopause and pain from menopausal musculoskeletal syndrome. How can I work with that? It seems pitta with heat, but also vata with constantly roaming mind and irritated body. So, Sheila, maybe you could help us understand what this linkage might be for those who are going through menopause. Again, we understand that it may be
Yes.
different symptoms that come out, but how do we address this from the Ayurvedic point of view and its impact on sleep, which is very real?
100%. It's I don't think there's anyone going through it, including myself included, that doesn't notice some change in their sleep, among other things. So th we're going into the Vata stage of life as we go through this transition for male bodies and female bodies. And so we are naturally going to notice potentially some of the imbalances of Vata, some pain, lighter sleep, maybe more scattered mind and maybe worry, anxiety, etc. And the heat component, the hot flashes, heat in the body. For some women going through perimenopause, maybe heavy bleeding, etc. So again, it is very individualized, but in general, we are going through this kind of pitta vata transition, the release of pitta going into vata. So we'll all notice some of those changes. So we do talk about this in the book. There's a little section on like how to think about menopause. But one of the things I really try to bring people to is we in Western, we've been all conditioned to label things, right? This is menopause. This is maybe muscle pain. This is this type of it. So we label things. Taking one step back, I always encourage people to think of those qualities: hot, light, stable, dry, moist, they're opposites, right? Heavy, light, cold, hot. And say, okay, instead of saying I'm in menopause, because like you mentioned, it can be so different for so many people. Uh, I feel hot, right? Or I feel, you know, irritable, or I feel hot and I feel anxious, right? Like pitta and vata. So the one thing we can do, and again, it takes some really spending time and connecting and thinking about what these terms mean and what to do about them. Both pitta and vata are light. They have the qualities of light. So anything that where you create a routine and you create some grounding. So putting oil on the bottom of your feet or doing a whole oil massage at night. And that can vary depending on if you're hot, you might use a cooling oil. If you feel cold, you might use a heating oil like sesame versus coconut or, some other cooling oil. But the oil is going to help balance both vata and pitta. You're grounded, and also the massage itself calms the nervous system. So it's one of the practices we talk about. And then also just looking at the rest of the lifestyle. Maybe again, you need to incorporate some movement. If there's some pain, it could be very gentle movement. If there's a vata imbalance, it could be again more modified based on your underlying prakriti. And then digestion, supporting digestion, again, because that's one of the things that can shift as we transition. But there are going to be some things that are good for everyone, as Dr. Suhas mentioned, not eating late, trying to eat light in the evening. But what's individualized is potentially, the type of food you're eating, And, maybe again, there's teas you can drink at night that might be more cooling versus more heating. So again, it does get nuanced, but there's definitely a recognition that we're typically trying to pay attention to pitta and vata balancing, and potentially kapha if people are waking up feeling groggy and heavy. But again, because there are so many practices, and it's not just what herb will help all these things. It's you can individualize your lifestyle practices to keep all the doshas balanced.
And then that begins with awareness. And as you said, see if we can get away from the label and tune into the quality of the experience to help guide what we do to bring us into balance. Thank you, Sheila. This was very helpful, I think, for many people who are struggling with changes of life, and the energetic changes that accompany changes in life in many different ways. Boy, you guys are such a fountain of wisdom, and we do have more questions. And I also want to honor that, I want to honor your time. An important question here. How do we make appointments with Dr. Sheila Patel and Suhas Kshirsagar? Do they hold clinics in Florida? Do you hold clinics in Arizona? Do you hold clinics in India? And do you have residential treatment programs? In short, how can people get in touch with you and learn more about what you have to offer and share with all of the wisdom that you have been holding for so many decades in this field of Ayurveda and health and healing?
So I'll put my website on in the chat. I do have a website, drsheila.patel.com. I do offer one-on-one mentorship programs. And you can book them right on the site. We talk about again like, potential issues that people are having. I encourage you to follow me on Instagram. It's at Sheila Patel MD. I'll put that on here too.
I'll second that. It's a really great, like wonderful tips that you receive from Sheila on IG and just a nice dose of positivity for the day. And I see here that Dr. Suhas, you've also put your phone number as well as the website so that look how accessible, how beautifully accessible these teachers are. We're so, so grateful.
And I
So
would say if you are considering panchakarma, I've done it at Dr. Suhas's clinic. I would highly recommend. And we talk about that in the book as well, how, that can help with if people are having sleep issues and nothing else is working.
yes, yes. And Dr. Suhas, maybe to close, since we did mention panchakarma, there was a question about, do we need panchakarma? Or can we get back to our natural state of doshas by changing our lifestyle and exploring with the herbal remedies to bring into balance? Is panchakarma necessary?
Well, I think daily detoxification, daily purification, daily rejuvenation is much more important than going to an exotic place and spending a bunch of money in doing an intense detoxification. There are different strokes for different folks. Panchakarma has a purpose and a value to that, but it doesn't mean it gives you a ticket to do whatever you want to do for the rest of the year and then do panchakarma once a year. I think what you do on a daily basis is much more important. The seasonal cleanses that you do, which I often recommend all my patients to do 4 times a year. We call it as detox on equinox. So right now we are having a fall equinox approaching, and that's the best time to do a cleanse. So slow it down, eat some khichdi, light, easily digestible food, eat less, eat light, eat only God-made foods, meditate more, spend some time in nature, sip a lot of herbal teas and hot water, and you'll feel $1,000,000 within few days. And so many things that you do on your own, they are more powerful than panchakarma, but there are people who need panchakarma, and we have services available here in Santa Cruz, California, where people do come and fly in from different parts of the country and the world to receive those treatments, which are much more complex and personalized and tailor-made for their diseases, their diagnosis, their imbalances, and their symptoms as such. But going back to what you're doing, Shamini, is chi is an acronym which I really love because chi is about prana. Prana, mana is the light, positive energy. So everything that you do on a daily basis, make sure that you're restoring your prana. The force of life should be light, easily moving and flowing through your system. In Ayurveda, we use the word called a sattvic lifestyle, pure lifestyle. Eating clean, eating pure, eating plant-based diet, eating right, practicing meditation, especially before you sleep, because you transform energy. With little intention, you change the energy of the experience. And I think the purpose of awakened sleep is what you do before you sleep, where you take yourself in the sleep to those awakened state of awareness, using sleep as an extension to your meditation practice. So an awakened sleep is when you wake up as an energized creative person, because how you feel in the morning and how you feel right before you go to sleep, these are the two polarities that will decide the destiny and the fate of your life.
Beautiful. And gosh, what a fountain of wisdom you both are. I hope that we might be able to bring you back to do a more in-depth workshop with some practical applications.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd love
We
to
would
do that.
love to do that, really, and I know our community would as well. But I want to thank you both for such a wonderful conversation and so much wisdom, insight, and practical tips shared with us today as we continue on the journey to expand our consciousness and understand the role of restorative sleep in that process. Thank you so much. And to
Thank you,
all who
Shamini.
joined us, thank you for joining us today. And be well. Have a wonderful